All right, it says we're live. Let me get a 5x5. If that is actually so, I know we started a few minutes early, but and however, I didn't verify that none of the other people that are kind of sort of in our community, all right, like Prepper Tribe was doing a live stream at 8 o'clock. And I don't like to step on other people's toes unless it's somebody that I don't particularly like. And I actually find Tribe and Josh, especially when Josh does his karaoke, rather entertaining. So you never know. On Sunday night, you might find out they're doing some karaoke over there. But we'll go ahead and do this. We'll kick things off, and then when it's all said and done, if you don't mind, go check out Prepper Tribe. Okay, capital P, capital T, Prepper Tribe. Um, you might like it, you might not, but only one way to find out, and that's to actually go. All right, thanks to everybody that's in the house. Pilgrim, I'm sure he's in there somewhere. I didn't scroll up. Wisconsin Farm Boy, I saw. Silverback went over to Pride. Dome Seeker, thank you for being here as a moderator. Wisconsin Farm Boy, Dynamite will hop in at 8 o'clock and he'll be like, oh, shit. Yeah, he started early. That's right, Dynamite. I started early. Coffee First In Speak. I just saw you in the chat over there. Well, thank you. You go back and forth. Cool. Outlaw Farms, thanks for 5x5. Email should be in the information of the channel. It should have my email in there. If not, let me know on the next stream and I'll put it down in the thing there. Juan Robles, hello. T.W. Perry, how you doing? The prepping artist, Washburn Billy, B-Lem. Yes, you made the live. So hello and thank you all for being here. I'm sure more will join as we go. And for those that join after, well, thank you for being here. Now, I know there's been a huge amount of talk of Civil War, EMP, the movies from the Obamas, the movie that's coming out. After looking, I like to look, think, then speak. All right. I find things tend to work out best if you do them in that order. Look, observe, take in information, listen, mull it around, then come up with your own conclusions. And as many of you know, I spent a lot of time in the U.S. Army as a psychological operations specialist, special psychological operations team chief. All right. Mind games, Jedis, men who stare at goats. Okay. Yes, we are real. We exist. I am here. Okay. And yes, we do not stare at goats. So you know. But a lot of people think that civil war is coming. It's imminent. It's inbound. However, if you take a moment, you step back and you actually observe, look, and listen, and take emotion out of the equation. Emotion plays a key role in getting things spun up. It's a key element in the psychological operations network. Okay. If you take that out and you actually scheme source, content, audience, media effect, that's how you break down and analyze PSYOP. You scheme the PSYOP, where it's coming from, what kind of media it is, where it's pointed at, who the target audience is, all of that fun stuff. It's a pain, but it's effective. If you do that, it will help you take logic or take emotion out, and you'll use primarily logic in your decision-making process. And that tends to be more effective, as we've talked about in previous videos. A lot of people tend to think Texas will secede. Well, let's get straight to this. Texas will not secede. Remember, Texas is the only state actually capable of being its own independent country. It's actually capable. It has the infrastructure. It has the land mass. It has the military. It has everything. It has the economy. Okay, the economy to actually be its own nation. However, it is not, and it will not. Primarily because one, it is still tightly wound in the system. And I will talk about the system here in a moment, but it's tightly integrated into the system of the big they, the big government, the masters of the universe. Okay. Two, it has been heavily infiltrated. Okay. It has been, you've always heard the term, don't Californiaize my Texas. Well, it's a wee smidge too late for that. You simply go to any of the major cities, Austin, Dallas, Houston, you will see the left has a firm, or leftist ideology has a firm foothold, a root deep down into the ground already. Okay. So that in and of itself, coupled with the fact that they'll play by the system, negates any secession. Okay. Because you would have to have votes, you would have to have an agreement of the government there. And when the government has already been infiltrated, all right, the odds of that secession actually happening go way, way down. Tracking like a tank, Rob. I love borrowing his line. Who's watched the X-Files? That the smoking man, the man in the shadows that actually controls government. The corporate elitists, the 1% of the 1% that actually control the government. They have perfected the system. What is the system? The system is a series of controls to divide the population. In essence, that's what it is. It's a series of mechanisms and controls that the government uses, to keep division amongst the rest of the population. Because what? A nation united cannot stand. A nation divided cannot stand. People that are united could stand a chance. All right. But if you simply look at the way the system breaks you down into groups and then subgroups, unity is impossible without common goal. Without a common goal, you can't unify anybody. It's like herding cats. It's like having a romper room full of children that are all just running amok into their own little cliques, groups, subdivisions. And then within those subgroups, you even have more division in groups based off of this, that, or the other. All right. It's chaos. All right. And by maintaining constant chaos, they maintain control. See, it's organized chaos. You've heard that term before. This is how it's explained. There's chaos. And as long as there is chaos, they have control, because they can push this onto this group and make this group fight this group. And while all of these groups are fighting each other and amongst each other, they never take the time to go up. Does it make sense? Hope so. They give you hope. As long as there is hope, all right, you'll never buck the system. The vast majority of people will not fight the system, will not buck the system, as long as they have hope. You can still have a 401k. You can still buy a nice home, still have the American dream. Want that nice car? All you got to do is work a little harder for it. Yeah, it costs twice what it did 15 years ago, 4 times what it did 30 years ago, but you can still get it. There's that hope. You want to go to college? You can go to college, become something. Yeah, yes, you're going to be $150,000 in debt. Yes, you're only going to get a job that pays $50,000. Yes, you'll be paying that back for 20, 30 years, probably as long as you have to pay off that house that you plan on buying. But you still have the hope that it's possible. You can still keep certain of your firearms. Not all of them, not the ones that do this or the ones that look like that. But you can still keep these ones and those ones. So it's not too bad. You still have hope. Well, maybe the next guy will let me have those ones back. Or maybe the next guy after him will let me have the one that looks like that back. As long as they have the hope, they keep the puppet dancing on the string. Okay? Civil wars, civil wars typically come from pain and loss. Some group has to suffer a lot for or perceive. They don't actually have to suffer. They just have to perceive that they are suffering a lot for them to actually rebel. And right now, we've got it pretty good in this country, despite the complete reduction in rights and privileges, and you have to do this, you have to do that. I mean, and that's how they keep you hooked, with the mindset that it's still better than over there. Yeah, we took a little bit more, but it's still better than what's happening to those people. So they condition your mind to accept that a little bit's okay. You're not losing it all at once, but bit by bit by bit, they close the fist until they do have it all. And by then, generations have gone by. 1, 2, maybe 3. You see it. You see the Civil War stuff heading in, in movies. You see it in videos. You see it on YouTube videos. You see it in news reports. America headed towards civil war. America divided. Some people think it's predictive programming. But as I said, it is actually psyop to instill fear. Fear, the very fear that they're instilling, is what will prevent the Civil War in the first place. Because they don't want a civil war. Civil war would be bad for them. Yes, it would be bad for everybody on the ground, but it's really bad for those in power, because when you actually have a civil war, normally the losing side has very bad things that happen to it. The people in charge have very bad things that happen to them. War crimes, tribunals, vigilante justice, all kinds of things happen to them. Okay. And they are more often than not never in a position of power like they once had. So they at the top don't want a civil war, because right now they all, even though they may have little disagreements here and there, they still have the power over everybody below them. Civil war would take half of them off the playing field, half of them, after it was all said and done. All right. So by instilling fear, you won't revolt. You're afraid. Afraid of what? You're afraid to lose your stuff. Keep the people afraid. Oh, I don't want to lose my car. I don't want to lose my job. I could lose family members in a civil war. 401k, that's gone. Stock market would crash. Oh, I'd lose everything. I'd lose my stuff. And as long as they can keep you afraid of losing your stuff, you won't rise a hand against them, because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Right? Those that keep you safe. People will sacrifice all kinds of stuff for safety. For safety. Fear is power. Fear makes people give rights away. We saw, if you didn't see that over, I don't know, the bug that went around, end of 2019 through 2020, if you didn't see people giving their rights away for fear, then you weren't born yet, I guess. Or maybe you are literally like, I think Stevie Wonder didn't see it. He probably heard it, but I don't think he saw it. Fear will make people do what they're told. Time and time again, fear makes you do what you're told. If you don't think fear makes you, if you're sitting there right now and you're going, fear doesn't make me do what I'm told, don't pay your taxes. Don't pay your property tax. Don't pay the tax on your vehicle. Don't pay your taxes. Don't go renew your license when it expires. Don't do it. If you're such a tough guy that fear doesn't, or girl, that fear doesn't control you, don't do it. but you will, because the men with the guns will make you. They'll come get you. They'll come get your stuff. You're afraid of the men with guns. You're afraid of what the government will do, whether you like it or not. Fear also makes people look the other way when bad shit is happening. Look at how many times a lady has been a woman has been accosted, someone who can reproduce human beings and pop them out. All right. How many times we've heard stories of a woman being accosted on a bus, on a subway train, and people look the other way out of fear. Well, yeah, he's doing something bad to her, but I don't want him to do something bad to me. So I'm going to look this way. Look at World War II. How many people looked the other way in Germany, in Poland, in Austria when bad things were happening? They kept their head down. Keep your head down, toe the line. Same thing with when everybody was rounding up Japanese in this country in World War II. People looked the other way. Not my business, not my problem. They're not coming for me, so it's okay. Someday they will. And who's going to be there to not look the other way? You going to wish somebody did? Oh, I'll hop into chat here in a few minutes. What are you going to start to see? You're going to start to see the restructuring of religion. All right, that's what you're going to start to see. We've already seen it with the Pope. All right, we saw the Pope saying these laws no longer apply, that the church can start doing this and the church can start doing that. You're seeing a lot of churches, synagogues, mostly churches and synagogues. There may be a mosque or two out there, but mostly churches and synagogues become more acceptance of certain things, certain ideas that go against their actual religion. This is the restructuring of religion, okay? Some new religion, maybe some one world, maybe. I don't know. Where have I heard that before? Anyway, you'll see it. They'll do it slowly. They'll do it through media, part of the PSYOP. You'll see it in movies that make you question religion, question your ideology, question, or push certain agendas. Look at prime example. And yes, I watched it, and I'll do a review of it. Not right now. The Barbie movie is anti-religion. I don't know how many of you actually realize that. How many of you let your kids or your grandkids watch that movie? I did not. I simply sat there and said, I'm going to watch this horrible thing. Although I do like the actress from Joe Dirt, whatever her name is. But she's usually entertaining. But when I actually watched the movie, I sat down with a pen and a paper and I watched the movie. And it is literally anti-religion. From the beginning of her showing up like the obelisk from 2001: A Space Odyssey to the end, spoiler alert, where she meets her creator and the creator says, you don't need me. You don't have to do what I say. Yes. If you watch it and everything in between, it's interesting. It's an interesting piece of psychological operations media. It is. And then they will establish a new religion. That's the ultimate goal. Establish a new religion. Get rid of the old or phase out the old, majority of it, introduce the new. While this is happening, you will start to see more liberal ideas, more liberal concepts growing, being pushed, as if you're not already. There will be little to no censorship in this arena. And what this will do is allow them to spread it in schools, churches, at home, on TVs, tablets, phones, because this is how PSYOP works. Multiple forms of media. All right. About the same time, or as they're ending that phase of the PSYOP, they will begin to censor conservative concepts, conservative values. All right. And that's when you'll start to see them introducing hate speech laws. Now, a lot of people think that won't happen, but if you look at other nations, look at England, look at Norway, look at Finland, look at Germany, look at Israel, look at Australia. All these places have hate speech laws already. We are one of the few Western countries that does not. That does not. And what the hate speech will do is they'll threaten you with fines or imprisonment. And it'll predominantly, if you actually look at it, any conservative values, if you have actual conservative values in the United States today, and you speak most conservative values out loud in one of those countries I named, you are subject to fine or imprisonment for speaking conservative values. So once they have that here, it'll start slow, little things. Anti-Semitic, don't say anything against that demographic. Anti-Zionist, don't say anything against that concept. Anti-Islamic, and then it'll be anti-LGBT, whatever they don't like, whatever they'll move it in slowly. About this time, they'll start rolling out the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, as we've all heard about. Okay, this is because once they have that CBDC, they can start pushing in the social credit. All right, social credit, CBDC, hate speech laws, bad things on the horizon for anyone with conservative values. Trust me. Most old religions that aren't of the new, modernized, inclusive, equity-driven religion will be basically, they'll fall under hate speech. They'll become, you can't say that violates hate speech. Oh, well, I have freedom of speech. Oh, you can't say fire in a crowded theater, so we can limit it there. We can limit it here. It's coming. I'm telling you. Think of, if you've ever seen the movie V for Vendetta, where the Quran was outlawed, other books were outlawed. 1984 is another good movie where Big Brother outlawed all kinds of things. China, look at China. There are books that are illegal to have in China. I believe the Bible is one of them. The Bible, the Quran, 1984, the book itself. There are a lot of countries that books are banned in. All right. And coming soon to a town near you. Conservatives will then become social outcasts. All right. Violation of hate speech will be applied primarily to this group, because that's what they're actually being designed for, is for people with conservative values. Now, we already have immense amounts of anti-firearm laws. What do you think happens once you catch a hate speech violation? Oh, well, before it was everybody could have a firearm. And then it was, well, everybody except for these people who committed a felony can have a firearm. Then it was, oh, well, everybody except for felons and people who had a domestic with a misdemeanor, class A misdemeanor. You got into an argument with your wife or your husband and you slapped him or her. You can no longer possess firearms. Oh, well, now it's anybody that also uses marijuana. Oh, and it's now anybody who could be emotionally unstable. So what happens when you catch that hate speech charge and they go, oh, well, you're not really stable enough because of your views. You own how many? Oh, well, we're going to have to come and take those. And one by one, the dominoes will fall. First your neighbors, then you, then the guy down the road. And outlaw farms shall not be infringed is a joke. It's a joke. Even saying that, it's like you should put the laughing face after that, because every firearms law is an infringement. Every one of them. And look how many the people have tolerated. Slow and systematic disarming of the populace will follow. Because the liberal ideas, those under liberal ideology, don't want them anyway. So once they start hitting you with those charges, hate speech. Started getting, oh, well, that guy, I know he's got firearms. I saw him taking him out of his truck. He was scary looking. Gotcha. You made somebody feel unsafe. Gotcha. And then once all that's done, once they have the firearms, then comes the fun stuff, because then they will start the slow and systematic removal of conservatives. Yes, because by then you're almost to complete totalitarianism. All right. It's happened nation after nation around the globe. It has happened. And if you don't think it will happen here, enjoy your train ride. Because they'll do it for safety. Well, those red flag laws, now they just blanket cover hate speech and red flag laws. Just basically, if you consider yourself conservative, you got that's a bad bumper sticker. Whoop, whoop, pull them over. We got a bus ticket for you. Train ride. Got to go. But don't worry, you won't be alone, because shortly after they start the roundup of conservatives, they'll start the roundup of far left activists. Because yes, they were good for getting the job done, but they're also a little bit unruly. Where have we seen this before? There was the Night of Long Knives. That was when that guy with the funny little mustache had all of his original enforcers executed, the leadership of them executed, because, once he had the power and control, he didn't need anybody else that could possibly be a threat to him. See, right now, the liberals are a threat to us, the liberal ideas. So they'll use them to get all their little things in play, all their little acts, their decrees, their laws, their regulations. And once they get rid of us, then they get rid of them. So at the end of the day, we'll all be in one big hole in the ground together in the desert. And then we will have the United Socialist States of America, the USSA. Doesn't that sound great? Doesn't it sound? You see it on T-shirts now, USSA. Flag. Maybe one big star, just one giant star on the blue. Now, does that mean that the Republic is gone? Yes, absolutely. But there is hope for your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, because socialism, totalitarianism, always in the long run falls down. Given enough time, pain, and loss, our descendants could start a revolution, but it's unlikely to happen in our lifetime. Okay? There would have to be an outside actor. There'd have to be. If there's not an outside actor, if there's not a World War III. Now, during a World War III that affected directly the United States and helped collapse the infrastructure, the power grid as we know it, and help bring because their system runs on electricity, their system runs on juice. So if an outside actor or actors brought down the entire grid for a sustained period of time, yes, you could have a homegrown revolution within. But without that outside actor, I'm afraid it's improbable. It's not impossible, but it's improbable. So let me hop in the chat real quick here. What do we got going on? Smitty Smith says that's one big star on blue background. Was the Bonnie Blue one of the early Confederate flags before the stars and bars? I do not know. Ask John at Prepper Nation. He's the history buff. 19 transformers. Yeah. And you got to know the right places and how to do it. South American rainforest looking better by the day. Right? Think about this. Here's a fun fact for you, Kentucky survival. Think of how dense the Amazon rainforest is. Now, here's a fun fact. The United States, next time you're out, you're driving around, you're out just going down the highway, and you see all these open fields everywhere, fields in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, the Carolinas. Think about this. 90% of trees that were here in the 1700s are gone. Think of that. 90% are gone. We only have 10% of the trees left in this nation that we had when it first became a nation. Can you imagine what the landscape looked like with that many trees? I mean, it's off topic, but think of that. So, Kentucky Express says China's been practicing on mock aircraft carriers and many Chinese military-aged men already here. That's outside enough. Yes, but they could just be bringing that in to help cause more interdivision. If there's actually an attack, like I said, it would have to be outside. We won't do it ourselves. There's no way we will self-divide and coalesce. We'll simply look at conservatives. Conservatives are divided into so many subcategories. Well, some believe in this, some believe in that, some believe somewhere in the middle. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you think about it, think about it. The division. Just look at Christianity, how many different ones there are. All right. Then Catholicism, then Judaism, then Islam. There are so many sects within sects just in religion, let alone when you get to people at a base level. I mean, some conservatives believe in right to life. Some believe, it's okay up to a certain point. Some believe, it's okay under certain circumstances. Some believe it's never okay to get rid of a kid. And on the left side, they're like, some of them are like, it's always okay. Some of them are like, it's mostly okay. You're just so divided amongst yourselves. And then, as I've said before, when I was talking, was so rudely interrupted by the system the other day. You have conservatives who are, God and guns. They got their Bible and they got their gun, and they're hell bent that you're from my cold dead hands. And then when you look over at the Islamic religion, they're like, we got our book that says the same stuff as your book, and we got our guns that say the same stuff as your gun, and they've tricked these two groups into fighting each other. People with very similar core values. They've got them fighting each other. Oh, that's your enemy because he looks funny. He talks with that jibber jabber, got that noodly language. Yeah, he the one that brought down them tires. You didn't think that shit was, you think they didn't know that shit was coming? You think that was just, it was an accident. Oh, they just happened. Yeah, okay. It's when I see just that division alone, I'm like, there's no hope. There's no hope in unifying people to fight a greater enemy. The enemy of my enemy. That's why I love that AVP. I love that when she's like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give this big his weapon back, and we'll deal with this alien thing together. But people just can't see that. All right, Disney paid someone in Germany $6 million to go back in the old movies and edit the skies to put in the chemtrails. Really? So they can say, see, they are normal even back then. Well, I mean, I would not doubt that, because I literally did a video last year before last, on Vice's video on rogue militias. And when I watched when I first watched it and it came out and I was watching it, like I saw like the guys walking around with the swastikas and stuff, and they took off their hats and they were inside their hats fighting somewhere that we're not supposed to say because the YouTube don't like it. And then when you went back and watched it after Russia invaded, those images, they didn't show those in. They had clipped those out. They went back and re-edited the entire video, like hour-long video. They went in and edited out all the parts with those symbols, the symbolism. They pulled it out. So that way they could be like, oh, look, it ain't that bad. Ain't that, no, them Pootie Poots lying. Those people aren't on this side of the border. There haven't been those guys here since World War II. But I saw it with my eyeballs, heard it with my ear holes, the things they were saying. And it's not there anymore. You can go watch Rogue Militia all you want, Rogue Militias from Vice, and you will not see those clips in there. Not there anymore. It's amazing. Imagine if most of the men quit their job overnight to race the future men and women while the wives work, like the 50s in reverse. Oh, yeah. You won't get anybody to quit their jobs overnight. You want Chinese fighting age men already here, pouring across our border to where Border Control had to get Chinese translators. Okay. Exactly. You see what I'm saying, Paradise Acres? Everyone sees, everyone's going, oh, look, there's a threat. Oh, look, there's a problem. But ain't nobody going to do nothing about it. Because you're afraid you're going to get in trouble, going to lose your stuff. Oh, they'll put me in a cage if I do something about it, if I go make a stand. So all you can do is sit back and enjoy the ride. Exactly. Now, yes, depending on what lines are crossed, let me just say, I'm trying to make sure they don't kill the stream this time. I have been fingerprinted before. I don't like stupid stuff. I don't like people saying stupid stuff or doing stupid stuff in my presence. And I used to have a bit of an anger problem. Yes, but I went to anger management counseling. It's good. Talk about your fillers. Talk about why stupid shit done by stupid people makes you a little bit twitchy. All right. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time before I get fingerprinted again. So Just Scott will be there with bail money. I know, just like he knows I'll be there with bail money for him. And if it's too bad, then we'll just intercept the vehicle en route. I don't do stupid. I hate stupid. But yeah, like I said, I have, someone commented, what have you done? How come you're not standing up? Well, one, I'm speaking about it. And two, I have already, and you can't prove where, and you can't prove when, and you can't prove that it was me, but I've already illegally, catch me if you can, I've already illegally removed, how shall we say it, the Rainbow Mafia propaganda from one playground. I already done did it. And I'll do it again. I don't care if it's breaking the law. Shouldn't be there. It's an abomination. Yeah. Try to avoid, I try to avoid conflict. But if you force me into a corner, I got to do what I got to do. Sometimes you have to reach down, make sure you got a pair of nuts there or plump ovaries, I guess, and say enough is enough. Ron, I'm not going to pronounce your last name, Ronnie, because I don't want to butcher it because I can't see it. I ain't got my glasses yet. I'm going to go tomorrow to an optometrist and get my eyeballs checked. Thank you for those that donated to that. Says, when COVID happened, I saw what was happening after a year of the nonsense, quit my job, can't take taxes if I didn't work. Saw the schools were teaching nothing but nonsense. The wife understood. Listen, you can do, Don't do the following because it would be wrong and it's illegal. So never do the following. Never work for cash. Never buy things that are on a black market that's not regulated. Don't buy milk directly from people that produce milk. Don't buy eggs from people who have chickens that lay eggs without it being reported and regulated and taxed. Don't buy anything from anybody who's making handcrafted goods and not reporting it. Okay, like the Amish. Don't buy stuff that's handmade. Don't hire people to do things for you that you're not reporting. They're not reporting the income. Don't do these things. All right. Don't get a side hustle that's only done for cash. Don't do that. You tracking? You tracking? Got it? Good. So, all right. Again, you should have, let me put it in the chat so everybody sees the name here. Oh, didn't mean that. See that name? Prepper Tribe. He's got a live stream going on right now. I believe Josh is with him. That should be where Coffee First Didn't Speak is over there. I hope this stuff makes sense to you, things I broke down today. I hope that makes sense to you. All right? Think about it. If Texas was going to secede, it wouldn't be worried about lawsuits or suing the government or not. It would stand up its National Guard, hell or high water. It'd close down the border. It'd do what it wants, but it's still playing the game. And the court says as long as it's that intertwined in the system, it's never going to buck that system. Okay? If it was going to, it would have already. All right? Think about that. Ed Benoit says, damn, I do all those things. I guess I'm condescending towards gangsterhood. Yeah, you'd be an outlaw if you did those things. So don't do those things. All right, Outlaw Farms. Yeah. Yeah, they won't let Texas leave. They won't. Yeah, won't happen. They'll follow the rules. All right. Have a good night. God bless. Thank you all for being here. Like this, share this, hit the subscribe if you feel like, hit a thumbs down, hit a thumbs up, hit something. Whatever you want to do. Okay, we got more people hopping in the chat. Texas sue the feds, stand your guard on border. Should have 3 years ago. Yeah, but it's just a show. It's just a show. We're criminals and terrorists. It's expensive to be criminals. Act accordingly. It's expensive to not be. I mean, think about it. You could blend into their system, their socialist system, do no work, get a paycheck. In theory, if there was a country that was run like ours and somebody wanted to actually hit it hard, get a bunch of their buddies, they all quit their jobs, get fired, whatever, hang out with their girlfriends or whoever, single dudes. Let's go with single dudes. Hang out with, the girlfriends, maybe get married, don't have any kids, young ones, fighting age males, get into the system, get government housing, get a free paycheck coming, and have all day long, just live completely off some food stamps, check, housing, clothing vouchers, all that stuff, and still have all day to plot all kinds of stuff that they could go out and do because they got all kinds of free time. Boy, that'd be scary. Just saying. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Share the stuff. Don't share the stuff. At least go watch the ones my little kids did about socialism. They had fun doing that. If you didn't see Learned His Lesson, go watch my short. He learned his lesson. because my little guy, the littlest guy, he found out about socialism. So there's that. Thank you all for being here. Good night. God bless. Leave comments or things you want me to talk about in the comments after this ends so I can see them later. And we'll try to talk about topics you want to talk about. Thank you all for being here, and I'm out.